Hello and welcome to episode number 117 of The Pitcher or the Hitter, the podcast by the M-SABR Dynasty League for the M-SABR Dynasty League. I am Cam.
I'm Sahil.
And finally, after all these years, your Zoom paid subscription from the University of North Carolina has run out. It's the end of an era. We are trying out a new software called Riverside. I'm not sure if it's new. It is new to us. But we're trying it out. We'll see how well it works. And if there are issues that we run across with it, blame UNC for not giving it in perpetuity.
Yeah, I'm not super happy about this. I knew the day was gonna come. I thought the day was gonna come earlier. I thought it was supposed to be like 3 months or 6 months after graduation, and it turns out it was a year after graduation. So let us know if you have any issues listening to this. I'm sure Cam, you'll be able to figure it out yourself.
Yeah, I'll figure it out while I'm editing it long before.
Yeah, we
anyone hears it. But yeah,
we're playing around. Bear with us. Hopefully this is the permanent solution, but if it is not the permanent solution, we might be playing around with some different things over the next few weeks. We're gonna have to figure it out too for like game night and stuff. Because I usually just send out my Zoom link.
yeah, I don't know what we'll be able to do with that. I guess we'll find out soon enough. Yeah, we haven't had a game night in a little while, but yeah,
We haven't. We'd have to figure out something to like share a screen. I'm not sure what we could use that isn't time, but in any event, we'll figure that out one of these days.
yeah. But it was an exciting week. The week is not over. As we're recording live, the Dodgers and Padres are in the bottom of the ninth, and one matchup does hinge on that result. So we're going to kind of push that to the side. Most likely, Jake has a huge comeback victory over Ruthvik after trailing the entire week and trailing big the entire week. But Ruthvik still has the opportunity to tie and perhaps pull off a win. We're going to save discussion on that for a little bit, and we'll get some live reactions as we go. But no trades this week. Is there anything we want to talk about before we dive into these matchups?
No trades this week, but it seems like interest has started to pick up in trades. I've started to see some discussion among teams. It sounds like we're leaving that period. It kind of inevitably happens in most Aprils where teams try to see for the first 3-4 weeks what their team is looking like, and then maybe looking to make some more moves. So I'm sure we're going to be in for a little busier month as it comes down to trades as we did last month. So I am definitely excited for that. I know Ruthvik in particular has thrown out a couple of pitchers he's looking to trade for. I know Andrew's looking to trade Jonah Heim. I know a lot of us have needs. There seems to have been a lot of injuries to start out the season. I feel like the pitch clock is really ramping up the number of pitcher injuries, I feel like. So
Maybe it could be unrelated, but
it could be unrelated, but yeah. We shall see. I'm sure we'll see some numbers and thoughts on that as the season goes on. But yeah, I don't think there's really anything else. Let's dive into the matchups here. So we are not going to talk about Ruthvik and Jake first, but is there another matchup that you would like to talk about first? If not, I have a suggestion.
So I think we should talk about the upset of the week. You lost to Conor, just like you did in the 2021 semis.
Jesus Christ. I think by the same score, too. I'm pretty sure they were both 8-3-1.
Yeah, this was one where you played pretty well. And Conor just killed it. Conor put together the second best OBP week of all time out of nowhere. 4-2-8-6.
yeah, 11 steals, like 55 runs, 20 doubles. He still lost doubles, but still hit 20 of them, 7 saves. Like it was a good week for him.
It really was. God, I mean, it helps the White Sox were playing the Reds this week. They had a 17-4 win on Sunday. Um,
Yeah, they.
yeah,
If you take out that game, I'm winning runs. Like flip some stuff. Uh,
God.
it's just it was what a week for Connor offensively.
Yeah, his whole team killed it, and he was one of the better. The pitching numbers aren't like jump off the page, but this was a big hitting week across the league, and that 3.4 ERA was one of the better numbers of any team.
Yeah, you talked about this either on air last week or we talked about it off air where you were like, uh, you're not going to win every single matchup that on paper you quote unquote like expect yourself to. Um, I certainly expected myself to beat Connor because I think I'm a better team, but stuff like this happens all the time. That's why we play dynasty baseball. You never know what the results are going to be. That's part of the fun of it. But I'm still sitting here just kind of thinking, like, what the hell just happened? Like, Connor, just insane week. And I played it close. It was 5-6-1 going into Sunday. It's looking like it's going to be a 3-8-1 loss for me, but even then, there's a number of close categories. And just shout out to Connor. He played great. I thought my team did a lot of good things this week. I think there's some areas they could have improved, but he just had it.
Absolutely, yeah. I think his offense in particular just killed it. Um, 3 homers on Sunday for Paul Goldschmidt. He had a 429 OBP for the week. Sal Perez, 41 OBP, 4 homers, 6 RBI. John Birdie had a 417 OBP with a pair of steals. Alex Verdugo, 417, pair of steals, 4 doubles. Marcus Semien, 519 OBP, 3 doubles. The one guy who really did it all, though, was Luis Robert, who had been off to a rough start to the season, but he really torched it this week, especially the last 3 days when he was playing the Reds. Hit 2 homers, 3 doubles, scored 7 runs, 7 RBI with an absolutely absurd 654 OBP. He was Connor's guy this week, no doubt about it. And shout out to Giolito for making a good start.
Yeah, he definitely got one of those quality starts. It was key for Connor to tie that category. I know we had, uh, I guess, over the first couple of weeks, maybe doubted Connor's team a little bit, especially some of the pitcher injuries and a little bit of the inactivity with him being busy. He's now reeled off 3 straight wins, and if you told us after week 3 when I was 3-0 and he was 1-2 that he would be ahead of me in the standings because of the head-to-head, I think we would have both laughed at that. So, how are you feeling about his team now? Any better? Any worse?
I think I'm feeling better. I think I'm kind of back to where I was in the preseason with him, and I definitely the first 2 weeks were rough, but yeah, kind of back to where he should be. Yeah, no ad drops this week, which is kind of surprising. You used all 8. It's always kind of funny seeing a team with 8 ad drops lose to a team with none. Um,
Yeah.
but I think I'm obviously he's not going to hit like this every week, but he hit like it this week, and he killed it. And I think bad teams don't have weeks like this.
Yeah, exactly. We thought he was the third best or the fifth best team in the league going into the season. I'm more there than I was after the first 2 weeks, but I'm not ready to definitively say that he is like the absolute, just unquestioned fifth best team, and that has less to do with him and more to do with some of the other teams around him that I really like that have been performing well. So, But yeah, on the flip side, two straight losses for me. Do you have any serious concerns, or do you think this is just kind of a blip here and I'll bounce back?
No, it happens, and especially because it's kind of tight in that middle of the pack. I think you'll be fine. It just kind of happens sometimes.
Yeah, I tend to think so too. I think my team overall performed pretty well this week, and it was more of a B week for my team, and in a week where Connor brought his A game. I needed my A game, and just unfortunately didn't have it. But
I mean, you drove in 59 runs, you hit 26 doubles. I think this was like an A minus week for you, certainly.
yeah, I think it's more on the pitching side, like zero holds, only three quality starts, 4.33 ERA, 127 a WHIP. I think we're pretty pedestrian, and I think that's more of where my concerns were. It's just how it
Yeah.
goes sometimes. So I couldn't buy a hold this week to save my life. I had multiple pitchers get like one out from a hold and then blow it. I had multiple like weird quality start situations. Just one of those weeks. But enough about that. I'm ready to stop talking about this matchup forever. Do we want to talk about Erik v. Andrew next?
Yeah, let's talk about Erik v. Andrew. This was another very close one. The matchup we had as the matchup to watch for this week, and it lived up to it. Not pitching wise, and again, it was a rough pitching week for everyone. But yeah, both teams were really bad pitching wise to start the week. Erik did just enough to win, though.
Yeah, he did. Quick breaking news: James Outman is now batting, so he just needs a double for Ruthvik to tie it up. We will keep an eye on that. But yeah, it was weird because Andrew took a big lead to start the week. Then the pendulum swung to Erik's direction, and Erik was up big. And then Andrew kind of tightened it, but just kind of ran out of time to make it to potentially take the lead back. As it stands, Erik won 7-5. Like you said, not a great pitching week. I mean, honestly, it wasn't even offensively. Low OBPs. Pretty
Low OBP,
solid.
but Erik, besides the OBP, hit fine.
Yeah, I think you're right. The rest of the offensive categories were more than fine. Erik was able to come out on top after starting 1-2. Now that's two big wins he needed to crawl back up to 3-2.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He did. James Outman homered. Oh
Oh
no,
no!
that was uh,
Oh
certainly
no!
nice, but not what Ruthvik needed. That is brutal.
Imagine being mad at a homer. Okay, well, so I guess Cronenworth could still come up. Okay, Cronenworth would be batting sixth in the inning. Uh,
I mean,
imagine if that ball's like 10 feet shorter. That's a tie matchup. That's. It was.
God, it's like the Reese Hoskins matchup
Yeah, my
live on
God,
air.
that has to sting.
Oh God, that's. I mean, this is
It's
exactly
never
what it
been
was.
more exciting to see an opposing hitter hit a home run.
Oh my God.
That's wild. Holy shit, that's insane.
God. Um, wow. Yeah, this. I mean, what a choke job by the Padres. But I guess yeah, Cronenworth is going to have to bat if the Padres want any chance of extending this game.
We have seen crazier things happen. I'm nothing would surprise me. Uh,
No.
but let's get
Um,
back to discussing here. We were talking Erik and Andrew. Any players you wanted to highlight?
yeah, so let's I guess start with Andrew because his team is on top. He got a great week from Ian Happ. He got a good week from Will Smith, the catcher. Good week from Ozzy Albies. Pitching wise, Nick Lodolo's kind of in some sort of funk. I'm not sure what's going on with him, but uh, yeah, it was rough. He got a rough start from Grayson Rodriguez, rough start from Tony Gonsolin, Tanner Houck, rough start. Craig Kimbrell blew up in the bullpen. For Erik, though, looking for a matchup MVP with honorable mention to, let's see here. Honorable mention to Ohtani, who struck out 13 and with a 368 OBP, but wasn't that great outside of that. Honorable mention to Vinny P, who drove in 6 runs. Matchup MVP, though, is Christian Walker. He hit 4 home runs, drove in 7, 458 OBP, 8 runs. Carried this offense. Those 8 runs were big. Yeah. So shout out to him. On the pitching side, yeah, it was guys like Ohtani and Sale struck out a lot without having a great ERA to back it up. But yeah, it was a rough pitching week for everyone. I'm not gonna be too harsh. Good job, Christian Walker, though.
Yeah, let's talk about these two teams a little more in depth, or more Andrew specifically. I have a question about just his pitching has been rocky to say the least to start the season. At what point,
Rocky.
is this just a cold streak versus a legitimate concern where you think he needs to go out and get someone?
Yeah, I think he's definitely in need of another arm. Uh, he does have some good young guys, and a lot of them have been struggling, like Lodolo and Will Grayson too. I think those guys will both bounce back though, so I'm not too worried. Um, he is, as of now, still a John Schreiber subscriber, and he's, you know what, been all right. He's got 6 holds. He 20 Ks in 16 and 2/3 innings. A more than adequate holds guy in that bullpen. I don't know, and I like Pablo Lopez. It's tough. Kyle Wright had a rough week, and he's going down with some sort of injury. We don't know what. So maybe if he wants to get a guy to replace Kyle Wright, I certainly would think that's a good idea. Other than that, I think kind of the same deal with Anthony's team. You're going to have a little bit of patience with some of these young guys.
I think you're right. I think he just has to ride it out. I don't think he has much of a choice otherwise. Maybe a small addition or two, but I don't really see a reason to disrupt the plan that he has in place right now. Uh, all right. Anything else you want to say about this matchup, or should we move on?
No, let's move on to the next one here. Speaking of Anthony, he had another rough pitching week, and he drops to 1-4 with this loss to Yuki.
Yeah, I don't think either of us really expected this. I will say this: Yuki, for like the first time in what feels like forever, like actually had a good ERA and WHIP in a week. A 2.75 ERA, 109 WHIP, and that I think was really what made the difference here. Just overall, though, I don't think either team really super impressed me. But Yuki was able to pull out some leads in some key categories and got the dub.
Yeah, we said going into this week that if Anthony loses, it's time to sound the alarm bells, and I think it's time to sound the alarm bells. Um, just not a great week, pitching wise included. He did win quality starts and he did win holds, but with a 5.46 ERA, Braxton Garrett gave up 11 runs in 4 1/3 innings. Rough start from Andrew Heaney. Some of his younger guys, like Alcantara, pitched well. Freddie Peralta had a good start. And Manoa was just kind of eh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I
was been
think.
all season.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot to worry about with this team.
Yeah, I will say it was extra good to see Alcantara have a good start this week because he had really been struggling after a solid first couple starts of the season. But Yeah, I really do think it's time to sound the alarm bells. Looking forward at their schedule. They do play EBO next week, but after that, it's you and me back to back. So if they're not pulling out a win next week, I mean, Anthony could realistically be sitting at 1-7 after 8 weeks. And
Yeah,
I
that
know he has
would.
the easiest schedule, but still,
Yeah, no, that would be devastating. I mean, there's no coming back from that, obviously.
no, not at all. The Padres Dodgers game is over. All the results are now official.
Results are official. Let's talk about some players though. Um, Yuki had a great hitting week from Dalton Varsho, contributor in all six categories: 4 runs, 3 doubles, 3 homers, 9 ribbies, 2 steals, and a 419 OBP. Good week from Rosarena. Uh, Good week from Bryce Harper, coming back from that injury and DHing. It sucks that he only has DH eligibility as of now. Um, Feels
Yeah,
like
I'm sure Yuki's just happy to get that bat back in the lineup in any capacity. That's a big one.
Yeah, feels like that feels kind of unfair. I feel like ESPN normally gives those guys the residual eligibility from last year. I don't know.
No, no, but Harper did not even play the requisite games in the outfield last year.
Did he not really? Well,
No, no, because he got hurt early in the season and then just started
man.
DHing. I'll double check that, but he did not play 20 games in the
In
outfield
that
last year.
case,
He
yeah, I'm
could
gonna go
play some
slightly off.
first base though, and I wonder if eventually he'll pick up first base eligibility.
Yeah, I think he will at some point. Um, I'm gonna go off board for matchup MVP though. Camilo Doval saved 4 games for Yuki. It's very rare you see a 4 save week from a closer. Um,
Nope.
Yuki had 6. He also didn't allow a single run. Didn't allow a single hit, although he did walk 2. Got a strikeout in each appearance. I am going to say Camilo Doval makes 9 consecutive first-time matchup MVPs.
That's fun. I don't remember the last time we had a reliever as matchup MVP, but
Let's
well,
see. Yeah, I think I've had. I think I've done it maybe once. I'm scrolling through the list here. It is not often, that is for sure. No, this might be the first one. Hey, congrats.
hey, congrats.
Yeah, I think he earned it though. Now that the matchup is final, do we want to talk about Jake versus Ruthvik?
Yeah, let's shift over there. What a crazy. I mean, it looked like Ruthvik was gonna blow Jake out for a while. Then all of a sudden, like around like 5 o'clock, like I looked over and I was like, "Holy shit!" It's like 4-5-3 in Ruthvik's favor. Jake took the lead back. Uh, it looked like Ruthvik would have some opportunities to get the lead back, and he would have at least tied it if Joe Musgrove got a quality start. They took him out after, I think it was like 80, 82 pitches through 5 innings. He gave a back-to-back doubles to start the sixth, and they decided that was enough. A little curious by me. I guess they wanted the lefty-lefty matchup. They had Muncy coming up and a couple other lefties, but uh, and then, as you just mentioned, James Outman hit that ball like 10 feet, like less. That would have been a double instead of a home run, tied the matchup. But in any event, Jake pulled off the comeback and won 6-5 to 1 in one of the bigger comebacks in recent memory.
I agree. Yeah, I had this one written off for most of the week, but
Same.
Jake killed it on Sunday with a 414 OBP. Drove in 9, um, scored 7 runs, hit 3 doubles, hit 2 homers, stole 2 bases. Whereas Ruthvik had a 237 OBP with no doubles, 1 homer, and 3 runs um, on Sunday, and that's what did it. It was just really Jake was great and Ruthvik was terrible. Just choked it away.
Yeah, and this is why, um, hey, you never know what's going to happen. Don't give up on Sunday. Don't assume that a matchup is lost. Just keep going at it. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. You really never know. Not a lot of strong individual performances, I would say. Um, the shout out to Matt Olson and his 10 runs scored. Most of that just came as uh, from walks and he hit no doubles. I am going to, and an honorable mention to Jaron Duran too. Uh, give matchup MVP to Bo Bichette, who I think contributed across the most categories. He scored 7 runs with a 438 OBP, 3 doubles, homer, and a stolen base on top of that. And I mean, the 3 doubles, the 7 runs, and the 1 stolen base, that flipped the matchup.
Yeah, no, I think you summed it up nicely.
Yeah, Bo
Um,
Bichette, matchup MVP. Wow, that was his first time too. That surprises me.
yeah, I would not have guessed that. Especially how hot he was at end last season, I would have assumed he would have won it at least once or twice.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Ruthvik's team quickly though. He started off 2-1. Uh, he started off 2-0. He beat Conor week one, beat Daniel Matt week two. He's now lost three straight matchups. One to you, and then this one to Jake. It's sandwiched in between that, an upset loss to Alex and Zach. Uh, he's got Conor next week, Erik the week after, and then after playing Alex and Zach again, he gets Jake again. How are you feeling about this team?
It's tough because, I think he played me very well, and I think he played Jake pretty well too.
Yeah.
Um, I think he's had a tough schedule, and I'm going to reserve judgment. I think he's kind of in that 6 to 8 range still. But I think he had a good week with runs and RBIs, and one of the better pitching weeks that any team had this week, thanks to a good start from Logan Webb. Good start from Cal Quantrill. Would have been 2 good starts from Cal Quantrill if he uh, played him on Sunday. That would have flipped quality starts into a tie. But I don't blame him for starting Joe Musgrove instead of Cal Quantrill. But yeah, he pitched well. And he hit well-ish. It just kind of happens. I still am higher on this team than I was to start the season, but he's gotta start banking wins.
Yeah, I think you're right. Um, Kind of a weird scheduling quirk I just realized. So he plays Connor next week. I think they become the first pair of teams to play each other twice on the season. Um, then after playing Erik the week after for the first time, he gets his second matchup against Alex and Zach. So they wrap up, and then he has his second matchup against Jake. So 3 of the 11 teams he plays, those matchups will be wrapped up by June 4th, aka 9 weeks into the season.
That's super weird. I
Um,
Yeah, I
yeah.
don't know why his schedule is like that when no one else's seems to be, but that's super weird.
Not only that, I think he only plays you once this season, correct?
Does he? I think that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it. So he's already wrapped up his matchups against you. That means after the first 9 weeks, he'll have wrapped up his matchups against 4 of the 11 teams.
No.
So he's
Yeah,
played
he's
either
yeah,
7 teams 12 times.
yeah.
Or, or,
So he's
or
got the same
between the
teams at the
remaining.
start of the year and then the same teams at the end of the year.
Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, it's a very weird schedule. Some really tight matchup punches, but hey, that's the beauty of these random schedules. It leads to some of these quirks like this, and I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. We have talked about 4 of 6 matchups. Let's talk about EBO versus the Tendies. This one was pretty close too. EBO moves to 2-3 now. They had a good pitching week, I gotta say.
Yeah,
Even if neither team hit that well.
yeah. Not neither team hit that well. The 11 stolen bases by EBO definitely helped them. 6 quality starts by both teams. Alex's team Loki has been pitching pretty well recently. I could pull up their exact numbers from last week, but I feel like they had a good pitching week last week as well. Yeah, last week they had 7 quality starts. This week they had 6 quality starts. It's 13 quality starts from a team that has traded away a lot of big rotation pieces, uh, not only last off season but over the last couple of off seasons. But hey, Joe Ryan looks like he's blossoming into a legitimate ace. Logan Gilbert. They have Bryce Elder
Bryce
has
Miller.
looked very good. Bryce Miller too. A lot of Bryces on this team. Uh, Josiah Gray looks better this year. So hey, looks like the youth movement, might be working to a degree.
Yeah, I think so. As long as if they hold on to some of these guys like Bryce Miller and Josiah Gray, they could be onto something here, and Logan Gilbert too. Um, yeah, they pitched well. Hitting wise, they got a decent week from Tyro Estrada again, who's still hitting somehow. Trent Grisham had an all right week. EBO, on the other hand, I mean, 11 steals. 5 of those were Cody Bellinger. Did you know Cody Bellinger stole 5 bases this week?
He did. Oh my goodness! Remember when I traded him?
Yeah, hey,
Oh, it's so bad right
yeah,
now.
he's killing it to start the year. Good for him. Um,
I didn't think he'd hit this well. I really didn't.
yeah, pitching wise, I think they got 18 Ks from Spencer Strider, although he had a uh, didn't pitch super great outside of that in either matchup. He only went 5 innings both times. Looking further, 3 saves from Alex Lang, with no runs allowed, 6 Ks in 3 innings. I will give matchup MVP though to a guy that I was all aboard the hype train to start the year. It's Hayden Wisniewski. I think, yeah, Justin Steele kind of got the headlines to start the year. He has been absurdly good. And he made a great start this week, too. But Wisniewski made 2 great starts, both quality starts. Only struck out 8 over 12 innings, but I think um, he was the guy this week that really did the most for this pitching staff.
Yeah, no, great pick. And yeah, anything else you'd like to say about this matchup or either of these teams, or would you like to move on to your matchup?
Yeah, let's move on to mine. Yeah, I won 8 to 2 to 2. I couldn't buy a save all week, but I still came close to 12 owing the former Drury's, or the former Bellies, the current Drury of your peers. I think they played a little bit better than they normally do, I'll say. They beat me in both pitching rate categories. Um, did well in both of those. Um, they had a 346 OBP, which is maybe their highest it's been all year. I would have to fact check that, but
Yeah,
um,
we'll be coming off like one of the worst OVP weeks in league history last week.
yeah,
So
the second worst OBP week in league history, and they came back and put together a very respectable one. They had a better OBP than you. They had a better OBP. They had the exact same OBP as Jake. Let me see. Let me look at decimals here. So the jury had 0.346041. Jake was 0.346049. So down to the sixth decimal place, Jake would have beaten them in OBP. But they didn't play Jake this week. Yeah, better OBP than Erik, better OBP than most teams this week. It was really only me, Conor, and Jake that would have beaten them, and Jake only by the tiniest amount. So yeah, teams. Uh, that's another team that's playing me harder than they're playing anyone else. I don't know what the deal with that is, but either way, my team is an absolute freight train. I am 10-0 across both leagues. I stole 8 bases. I'm not a base stealing team, but I still stole 8 bases. Thanks to Anthony Volpe stealing 3 and Jonathan India stealing 2. 55 RBI, 384 on base. I was flirting with 400 for a bit, but I kind of had a down Sunday. 49 runs. I'm not hitting as many homers as I would like, at least the last 2 weeks, but and my pitching It was kind of mediocre, but it was a week where everyone's pitching was mediocre. Um, yeah, not a lot more to say other than I'm feeling great.
Yeah, I'm really just hoping once your schedule gets a little harder, your team starts to fall a little bit. But I am not super happy with the start that your team is having because it just makes it that much harder for us to come back and knock you down. So, congratulations, but I hate you. um,
Well, thank you,
I
thank
don't
you.
have much to add. I think that sums it up nicely. But who's your matchup MVP?
Yeah, I'm kind of torn between a few guys. Yeah, it was really the offensive production was really spread out evenly. Um, it yeah, like between five or six guys, Yandy Diaz, Jonathan India, Chris Bryant. Oh no, it's Yoshida. I skipped over him. It's got to be clearly Yoshida. Hit two homers, 519 OBP, 8 RBI. Hit a pair of doubles, scored 7 runs. With shout outs to the guys I mentioned, plus Juan Soto and Vlad Jr. But Yoshida is, yeah, he's the guy that uh, uh, he's been well worth that 11th overall pick. Got a 400 OBP so far to start the year.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And that makes 12 consecutive brand new matchup MVPs. Despite this being our second full season of doing these, uh, two 2 weeks in a row without a repeat winner. That's kind of surprising. We're seeing it from different places though. Seeing production from places that we're not seeing before.
Hey, you'll love to see it.
Yeah. I had one last thing to say about my team. I don't remember what it was. Um. So we'll move on, and if I think of it, I'll say it then.
Fair enough. All right. Let's let's talk about our matchup that we want to preview for this week. And I think we decided on, let's see if I can pull it up to re-jog my memory. It is Connor and Ruthvik, correct?
Yeah, Conor and Ruthvik. Oh yeah, the last thing I was gonna say about my team is I was hoping to I have as we've discussed I have an easy start to the season, and I was especially my first six matchups are six teams that we um, well they're the six teams that we thought would miss the playoffs. I faced them all in the first 6 weeks. I was hoping to go 5-1 because it's really hard to go 6-0. It's hard to win all your matchups. That's just how it goes sometimes. Hey, you lost to Connor this week. It's hard to win the matchups you're supposed to every single time. So I was hopeful for 5-1 through my first six, and I've guaranteed at least that or better. And I'm thrilled. I'm doing. I've exceeded expectations to start the year, and I'm really hopeful this is my year.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm hoping it's not your year, but I do agree that you are winning the matchups that you should be winning, and that's what good teams do. So,
Yeah.
um,
Um,
yeah.
but yes, let's talk about the matchup to watch this week. It is Connor versus Ruthvik. Both of these teams uh, are in that 5 through 8 mix that we think is very tight. Connor is going to be 3-2. Ruthvik is going to be 2-3. So if the winner of this matchup will have the tiebreaker over the other, which I think is going to be greatly important down the stretch.
I think so too. Um, and especially for Ruthvik, as we discussed, he's lost his last three after starting 2-0, and the schedule gets tougher in the coming weeks after this. So it would be really good for him to take advantage of Connor here and get the win. And on the flip side, Connor has this momentum after beating me after a couple wins week 3 and week 4. So from his perspective, he wants to keep this momentum going. So they're almost kind of operating in exact opposite directions right now. As we mentioned earlier, this is a repeat matchup of the matchup from week one, in which Ruthvik won. So if Conor wants to prevent the head-to-head from being a tiebreaker, he needs to win, and Ruthvik with a win or a tie can secure the head-to-head tiebreaker.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's pick these matchups. How did we do last week?
Yeah, so let me pull it back up. It was a mixed bag. Definitely not as successful as our week prior, but some good and some bad. We both picked me to win. That was wrong. We both picked Anthony to win. That was wrong. We both picked Jake to win. Jake narrowly won. We got saved from having a much worse week thanks to that. We both picked you to beat Daniel and Matt. You won. I picked Andrew to win. You picked Erik to win. Erik won, so you got that. I picked EBO to win. You picked them to tie with Alex and Zach. EBO won. So I went 3-3 on the week. You went 3-2-1.
Another matchup with no ties. How about that?
Yeah, that is 5 weeks now, no
We
ties.
were 10 feet of James Outman away from having our first tie, but it has not been in the cards yet somehow.
Has not been in the cards yet, but I am now 17-12-1 on the Pick'em season, and you are 18-7-5, and that means that you once again get to pick first again. Can.
All right, I think I will beat Yuki, although I think it'll be 6-5-1 because that's always what happens. I think Erik is going to beat the jury. Tough start to schedule for them. I think you are going to beat Alex and Zach. And then it gets a little tricky. I think... I'm going to pick Jake to beat Andrew, fully expecting you to pick the reverse.
Interesting.
I am going to pick Ruthvik to continue his... or to stop his downward momentum. I think he will have the win over Conor again. And you know what? I'm not going to pick a tie this week. I'm going to pick EBO to beat Anthony.
Ooh,
And
no
in
tie
hopes
week.
that by not picking a tie, this is the week that there will be a tie. Maybe that's
All
what
right.
changes the... we'll change our fortunes around here.
Interesting. I will say, you assume I'm going to pick the flip of the for the Andrew Jake matchup. You have either picked Jake every week, or in the case of week one, you picked him to tie when I picked myself to win. So, and there have been there's at least one other week where I picked the non-Jake team to win. I think that's when Erik played Jake and you picked Jake to win. But a little interesting tidbit there. I will pick Erik to beat Daniel and Matt. I think we could just lock that in. I don't even know if you have to play that matchup. Um,
I don't
Other than
know.
the rest,
They play Erik tight sometimes. Not that I'm
yeah,
expecting Erik to lose, but they do play Erik tight sometimes.
I don't see it. I just I don't think it's gonna happen. I think I'm gonna get back on track against Alex and Zach. I need it. I think EVO is gonna beat Anthony. I'm concerned about Anthony's pitching staff, and I think EVO is gonna string together a little momentum from this week's win. I'm trying to this Conor Ruthvik matchup is tight. Um, I'm still, despite how Conor played this week, I still have legitimate concerns about his pitching staff. And as for Ruthvik, I still have concerns about the offense. That being said, I'm gonna pick Ruthvik. I don't feel great about it, but I'm gonna pick Ruthvik. Uh, and then here's where it gets even more interesting. Uh, I could kind of just keep up with my whole I'm going to pick against Jake little shtick, um, which is not something I necessarily want to do. See, he doesn't have really any two starts. I think Luzardo might get a two start, whereas Andrew uh, gets one, two. Why not? I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna pick Andrew. I've been picking Andrew a lot this year, but I'm liking the vibes. No, no, you know what? I changed my mind. I'm gonna pick a tie of the week because that means we're gonna tie because I don't usually pick a tie of the week, and that's what's gonna mess up the system here. And I'm gonna pick Yuki to beat
Okay.
you.
You're gonna pick Yuki to beat me.
We need some weird shenanigans, right? This just feels like a weird shenanigan type of thing where Yuki just does Yuki and just randomly pulls off a win that nobody is expecting. Because I don't know. Hey, he's already beaten Erik this year in a matchup we didn't think was gonna happen. He tied Erik last season once. I'm trying to find the other matchups involving Yuki and like some of these top teams here. Did you know that Erik also? So Erik has not beaten Yuki in a head-to-head matchup since 2021, maybe, because he did not beat
Really?
Yuki last year. No, because he tied Yuki once and beat no,
That's
lost.
right. Yeah, because when Yuki beat Eric and me in back-to-back weeks at the end of last year.
Yeah. Let's see. Last year, you beat Yuki week two. Um, and did you play Yuki again?
Yeah, he beat me week like 17 or something, and then I beat him in the
Uh,
playoffs.
yes, yes. He beat you week 19, and then you beat him in the playoffs narrowly. Okay. So hey, maybe it's gonna happen. You said your goal is to go 5-1. It's very hard to go 6-0. Why not? Just
How
I don't
about
know.
that?
Why not? I didn't think I was gonna lose to Connor. I don't, in reality, think you're gonna lose to. If I was a bet, if I had to put money on this, I would not put money on that. But I think that why not? Crazy things have already happened this year. Plus, I need to figure out a way to differentiate me from you in the pick'em standing somehow. So I feel like
All
I'm
right. Well, that was a
talking
very
myself into a decision that I'm willingly making, which is never a good sign. But here we are.
yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes. Um, yeah, I mean, I Yuki always plays me hard, except with the one exception of our first playoff matchup. I beat him pretty handily, but ever since then, he is in down years and in up years always been difficult to play.
Yeah, and remember, he is just so annoying to play no matter what the circumstance. So I'm sure it is going to be an annoying week for you.
It is. But yeah. Any last words here before we say goodbye to week five?
No, I don't think so. I am certainly ready to be done with week five, and I'm hoping a week six is better, and I'm hoping to see some trades this week. I'm always disappointed when we don't have trades to talk about in an episode, so remember, y'all, feel free to make trades. And
Yeah, it seems
knowing
like
our luck,
Ruthvik's
there's
the
going to be
one
a trade
who's.
announced like tomorrow morning, and right after we've recorded the episode, so.
Yeah, Ruthvik's the one who's got to pull the trigger on some things, but um, we've had last call on a few different players so many times now.
Yeah.
Anyway, yep, that was week five. Hopefully, you're able to hear this at all. If so, that means Riverside was able to work, and we're able to get you an episode up, maybe hey, maybe it'll be fantastic. Maybe the audio quality will be way better, and we'll be happy that we're on the side of the river.
On the side of the river, absolutely. Until then, we will see you next week.
Yeah, see you then.
Oh my God, I see how everything is torn in the river deep, and I don't know why I go the way down by the riverside.
This podcast is good.